Last summer, during a vacation, I found myself on a spontaneous hike. My original plans for the day were canceled, leaving me with nothing better to do than explore a flat, lifeless woods surrounding the area. Little did I know, this spur-of-the-moment decision would lead me into the heart of terror. As I strolled along the trail, I noticed peculiar thin paths branching off from the main one. These offshoots seemed recently made, as if someone tried to create shortcuts. My curiosity was piqued when I encountered one path that led an entirely different direction from the main trail. It appeared unexplored, untouched by human presence. A strange allure beckoned me to follow its mysterious course. After walking what felt like ages, I reached the end of the path. There, shrouded by trees, stood an ancient, dilapidated cabin. Covered in moss and on the verge of collapse, it exuded an eerie aurora. The air around it felt heavy, suffocating as if something malevolent was trapped within its decaying walls. I couldn't resist the urge to explore this desolated structure, a chilling thrill gripping my heart. The door had disappeared as if consumed by the darkness within, but my flashlight barely penetrated the gloom. The silence was deafening, broke only by my rapid heartbeat. As I ventured further in, I discovered a partially open door leading to a small basement. A nauseating stench assaulted my senses as I descended the creaky stairs. The smell of decay was overpowering, and I had to fight the urge to gag. The basement was like a dungeon of horrors, with cold, damp walls closing in around me. There were rusted shackles hanging from the ceiling, a cruel reminder of the cabin's sinister past. At the bottom, I aimed my flashlight into the darkness, revealing a tiny room, more like a decaying wooden coffin than a proper living space. To my horror, another door, barely visible in the dim light, opened into an unnervingly long tunnel. The tunnel was suffocating, its walls so close together that it felt like they were pressing in on me. The air was thick with an ancient malevolence, and the walls seemed to whisper haunting secrets. The further I walked, the more I felt like I was descending into the bowels of hell itself. Fear and curiosity warred within me. The tunnel seemed foreboding, falling apart in places, with darkness swallowing whatever lay beyond. Trembling, I hesitated, my imagination conjuring horrors lurking within the shadows. The walls seemed to come alive, as if they were reaching out to grab me, eager to pull me into their chilling embrace. I decided to abandon my exploration and hastily turned to leave, but something made me look back one last time. In the corner of the basement room, illuminated by my flashlight, I saw a figure standing in the darkness. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, filled with a hunger that sent chills down my spine. It stood there, unmoving, as if waiting for something or someone. Outside, I ran without stopping, my heart pounding like a drum, terror driving me onward. Only when I was safely back on the main trail did I allow myself to catch my breath. I fled the woods, haunted by the chilling image of those glowing eyes watching me from the dark basement. I don't know who or what I encountered in that desolate cabin, but the memory of those glowing eyes remain etched into my nightmares. I can't shake the feeling that some malevolent force lurked in those woods, waiting for an unsuspecting soul to stumble upon its sinister domain. And I can't help but wonder if that cabin is a mere facade, a gateway to something far more sinister and terrifying. Last summer, I decided to stay at our family cabin, a small two-bedroom place hidden deep in the dark woods. It had been passed down through generations, but most of the family avoided it due to its remote location and lack of modern amenities. As I approached the cabin, I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. The woods seemed to close in around me, and the silence was unnerving. Still, I pushed forward, eager for a quiet getaway. Once inside, I noticed how old and worn everything looked. The walls were adorned with old pictures of my ancestors, and the air had a musty smell. It was clear that the cabin had not been visited in a while. As the sun went down, the atmosphere inside the cabin turned eerie. Shadows danced on the walls, making strange shapes. The floor creaked and the wind outside seemed to whisper haunting secrets. During the night, I woke up suddenly, feeling like I was being watched. A strange figure stood at the foot of my bed, with glowing eyes and a sinister grin. My heart raced. I couldn't move or speak. The figure vanished, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. As the days passed, the cabin felt more and more unsettled. Objects moved on their own, and strange noises echoed through the walls. I tried to brush it off as my imagination, but I couldn't ignore the feeling that I wasn't alone. One day, I stumbled upon an old diary that belonged to a family member who had lived in the cabin before. The diary told tales of cursed bloodline and mysterious happenings in the cabin. It seemed that I was not the first to experience these strange occurrences. Determined to find answers, I conducted a ritual to cleanse the cabin of any negative energy. The cabin shook and I felt a chilling presence surrounding me. It was a terrifying ordeal, but I pressed on. Finally, I managed to escape the cabin's clutches, running out into the woods, my heart pounding with fear. Even now, I can't forget the horrors I experienced in that cabin. It remains a haunting memory, a reminder that some places hold dark secrets and mysteriousness beyond our understanding. The cabin stands as a silent witness to the unknown forces that lurk in the heart of the woods. In the heart of a desolate forest, I stumbled upon a decrepit cabin, its walls covered in moss and the air heavy with foreboding. The path to the cabin was treacherous, as if the woods themselves were trying to deter me. As I entered, the darkness inside seemed to swallow me whole. The only light came from a flickering lamp in the corner, casting eerie shadows on the walls. I felt like a tiny speck in a vast and malevolent void. A sudden knock at the door made my heart skip a beat. I cautiously opened it, but there was no one outside. The silence was deafening, broken only by the eerie creaking of the old wood. As the night descended, the cabin seemed to come alive with haunting whispers and ghostly apparitions. Every creak and groan echoed like the anguished cries of lost souls. I tried to sleep, but the howling wind and the unsettling sounds outside kept me wide awake. It was as if the cabin itself was trying to communicate with me, to warn me of the horrors that I had witnessed. In the dim light of the lamp, I saw strange symbols etched into the walls, symbols that seemed to pulse with otherworldly energy. The air grew thick with a putrid smell, like the stench of rotten decay. With every passing moment, the cabin's malevolence seemed to intensify. I felt a heavy weight on my chest, as if an invisible force was trying to suffocate me. I could have sworn I'd heard faint voices, whispering sinister secrets into my ear. But when I turned to look, there was no one there. The walls seemed to close in on me, and the shadows danced and writhed like living things. I felt a presence in the room, something malevolent and hungry. Terrified, I tried to leave the cabin, but the door wouldn't budge. It was as if some unforeseen force was holding it shut, trapping me inside. I frantically searched for another way out, but all the windows were sealed tight, and the cabin was like a prison, and I was its helpless captive. Suddenly, the lamp flickered and went out, plunging the cabin into complete darkness. Panic set in as I fumbled for my phone, praying it had enough battery to provide me with some light. With trembling hands, I turned on the phone's flashlight and pointed it around the room. What I saw made my blood run cold. There, in the corner of the room, stood a shadowy figure. It had no distinct features, just a dark, menacing silhouette. It seemed to be watching me, its eyes glowing with a malevolent gleam. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. The figure began to move towards me, its movements slow and deliberate. Fear consumed me, and I mustered all my strength to break free from the cabin's hold. I slammed my shoulder into the door, and finally, it gave way. I ran as fast as I could, not daring to look back. The woods seemed to stretch on forever, and I stumbled and tripped over roots and branches. As I finally reached my car, I felt a sense of relief wash over me. But as I drove away, I couldn't shake the feeling that the cabin's malevolence was still following me, lurking in the shadows. That night will forever be etched into my memory, a night of terror and horror that I'll never forget. The cabin's evil presence still haunts my dreams, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurks in the most unexpected places.